Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the channel. As always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out for a few. Now, the first question you might be asking is, Rich, why do you have the goggles on? What are you controlling? What are you doing? Are you doing something wrong? Well, to be honest with you, right now I'm looking at a blank screen in here. It's all dark. I don't see anything going on, and I'm not connected to my DJI Avata. Is that what I'm doing wrong? Well, let's talk about it in just a moment so that you can learn what I'm doing completely wrong when I'm doing FPV flights. So hey there everybody, I'm down in the lower right hand corner of the screen now so that you can actually see what's going on the big screen. So I just pulled up some completely unedited FPV footage that we did last week. So this is literally me taking off in the granite dells and just flying the drone around, having a little bit of fun. So, hey, remember when drone flight was fun? It seems that it's all about business here lately. So we just wanted to get out last week, do some B-roll, have a good time, practice with the DJI Avata, which is our FPV drone. And I know some people aren't big fans of the Avata, but hey, that's the one we've got. So right now you see we're just setting up. I've got the goggles on. Jody's checking out the connection to the iPhone, and she is my visual observer and spotter in this situation. Now, I want to tell you, I always appreciate comments in the comments section, and I try to reply to everyone whenever I can. So sometimes we get some negative comments or some interesting comments. And one of the comments that I got recently on part of this flight that we're seeing right now, and the drone's kind of poking along right now, was the fact that I'm not doing FPV flights correct. The reason why I'm not doing these FPV flights correct, as you see, I'm going over these rocks. I'm going a little too slow. I'm not bombing down into the canyon. I'm not flying straight up and then shooting straight down to come rushing into the canyons here. Instead, I'm kind of being like the old guy that I am, taking my time. I'm not that old, but I'm taking my time and seeing what's around me as I'm flying the drone. Now, on this particular day, we also flew the Mavic 2 Pro. We were also using the DJI Osmo 6. Mobile 6 with our iPhones. And so, right here you can see this is a canyon, and it's actually a fairly deep canyon. I am a rock climber as well. Haven't been out climbing in the past couple of years, but one of the reasons I stayed in Prescott was because of the amazing climbs. Like right here, I'm going to pause it for a sec. There's a lot of trees and a lot of junk down in here, but just to let you know, if you get down to the bottom of this little dome area, there is a climb in there known to all locals. One of the climbs in here is called Perfect Idiot. And yes, I spent a lot of time on that years ago, and both of my shins were left bloodied for the entire summer on that particular climb. But anyways, there are climbers out here. There are hikers. There are picnickers. There are folks who park their kayaks down by the water and have walked up into these granite formations. So the potential for meeting up with other people with my drone, with my FPV drone, and scaring the snot out of them is really high. So one of the things that we were doing as we were setting up to do some of this FPV video, excuse the jerkiness here and there, this is once again totally unedited, just out of the drone what I was capturing. But to go bombing into these canyons would be completely irresponsible. So first, what I wanted to do was actually fly around some of the cliffs and canyons, get a feel for the flight areas, and then come back through a little speedier. And we're doing it on the normal mode with the motion controller from DJI. So I think my maximum speed is 17 miles an hour. So not super impressive. We're not blasting things here and there. And by the way, you probably don't notice this, but I sure as heck notice this. There's a climber down here. So where my mouse is, zing, 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 right down here in the lower right corner. And my image might actually, be in the way there. So I'm going to pull this back and just this cliff face right over here. This is called Thor's Wall. And there's there's higher end climbs on this one. So you've got to be a higher level climber to feel comfortable doing this. This is a bolted route. So there's actually bolts screwed into the rocks where you clip in and those kinds of things. So one of the things that I was doing when we were out on location is observing for other human beings having their recreation and not being a jerk coming flying in and probably scaring the crap out of someone, causing them to take a fall. So one of the things that we noticed as we were flying around, we had this climber in here. So we started sticking to some of the other canyons and things. And once again, we're not seeing all the canyon stuff. There's a lot of trees, a lot of brush, but let's go ahead and take this up a little further. And then I'm also, so right down in the lower right corner was a climber that looked like they had a yellow jacket on. And I want to stop this right here because this is also an incredibly deep canyon right here. And up at the top, there's a couple of places to hook up and set in to do some top roping, so that you've got the what do you call it here? I'm losing words. So that my rope up top could actually go through and you don't have to worry about doing bolts and sport climbing. And this is a great wall for people to learn on. And on the weekends, you will usually find several climbers out here. So yes, I did take my time, and let's see, making that turn around. So we still kept far away from that climber, and we had knowledge for the rest of our flights the climber was there. So could you imagine me blasting down into one of these canyons, whipping around all these trees, and suddenly there's a person with a rope in their hand belaying the climber who's halfway up the climb? They wouldn't like me very much, would they? So before we, did anything else, before we really started getting some of the scenes that we were interested in getting, we did fly around the area that I wanted to know about, looking down into the canyons and making sure that we're not going to disturb anybody else's recreation. So, I've seen all the great FPV videos blasting down chimney stacks and abandoned warehouses and all that kind of stuff. And I have to say, we don't have cool abandoned warehouses. We have these canyons instead. I'm just rotating this back just to point out right here on my left-hand side, this is a climbing area known as Emerald City because of all the green on the rocks. These are some of the hardest climbs in the Granite Dells to my knowledge, but people keep developing new routes. But so I was taking it easy through here. Still, when I get going at 17 miles an hour across the top of a couple of these, it doesn't feel like 17. It feels much slower. And yes, we could change the mode to get it to be zippier, but I would rather err on the side of caution because I know how many other people are out here enjoying the recreation opportunities. I don't want to be the guy that scares them, and I certainly don't want to be the guy that flies a drone right at them because I'm trying to barrel through this place at Mach 10. So as you can see, I'm just taking a look around. So I was actually scanning around the area as well. Jody was also paying attention to the screen, the iPhone screen, and also doing the visual observer job of, keeping our eyes out because we did have to apply for Lance because of the proximity to the local airport. So if you think playing it a little safe, being cautious, and watching out for other people is doing FPV wrong, then I am absolutely doing FPV wrong. Now, we are going to come back in here, and I will fly deeper into some of the canyons. We're going to plot out some areas to share with you, just because this is incredibly enjoyable. As I'm making this turn, I want to let you know, here we go. So there's Emerald City again off to the right. Down in this canyon, you see trees. These are full-size trees. So you still have 20 or 30 more feet below this particular wall. So, to get down into here, I will be dodging trees. I would be watching out for climbers. I would be watching out for people throwing rope down, yelling all clear below. All those things could be going on. So yeah, the extra caution on my part is with good reason, because I don't want to be one of the folks that causes people to not enjoy the city parks here at Watson Lake. So I just wanted to share that with you. So if I'm doing it wrong, I guess I'm doing it wrong. But I'll tell you what, I still have a lot of fun flying this drone. And we've been using this drone in buildings for flying some of our client sites. So that's been the primary role. But we are going to get out here and test it some more. And by the way, we do have one major problem that we'll discuss in another video. One of the things after working with the Avata for over 6 months is it has some problems with connectivity when it dips behind big, thick granite boulders and cliffs. And we can actually see our signal strength drop out. And at one point, not even 600 feet away from us, we dipped behind one bigger boulder and we started to lose our video connection. So I don't know if that's an issue with our drone or the superpowers of the granite dells or something else going on. But we'll talk about that later in another video. And if you can't tell, I was being a little tongue-in-cheek about this. I might take things a little slower. I might operate with a little more caution, but that's just me and who I am. I'm always, cautious about when we do climbs. We double check everything. We make sure that everything's fastened. We make sure that our harnesses are all set so that if we take a fall, we're going to be okay and safe. So safety is important to me. And as a drone operator, safety is very important to me, especially when I know that while this drone is flying around here, there could be people down in this canyon without question. And especially on weekends, we weren't out on a weekend, but especially on weekends, there's a lot more people than you even know about in the dells because they're up on the top or they're down in the canyon. And here we are flying back to Emerald City again, so it gives you a better view. This is a huge vertical cliff. And as we're looking at this, I can actually make out some of the bolts. So I know where some of the bolts and hangers are in here, but you can actually follow the path. So for all I know, below all of this green in here, somebody right down in here could be lurking around underneath the tree cover, and I wouldn't know about it unless I came blasting into there like those standard cool FPV reels. All right, everybody, we'll see you again real soon. I hope this one was informative, and please do like and subscribe. Leave comments down below. I'd love to hear back from you. And I'd love to hear what you think of this location and how much fun it looks like flying with an FPV drone or even a regular drone.